Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to Lotus Yoga Online. This video is all about a few arm balances. So we're gonna look at crow pose, we're gonna look at 8-angle pose, and flying splits. I'm gonna break down each of those arm balances and then weave them all together so that you can start incorporating these 3 arm balances into your regular vinyasa classes. So think about when you're in like a lunge posture, maybe a warrior 2 or something like that, and when you release the warrior 2 into chaturanga, you have the opportunity to weave in some extra things just for play and for strength. That's what this video is about. If you haven't practiced today and you're just stepping onto your mat fresh with a cold body, go ahead and pause this video and do about 10 to 15 minutes of a warm-up. That could be all focused on your core and your wrists, or it could be focused on opening up your hips and doing some things like sun salutations. If you're ready to begin, we're gonna go ahead and start with a little bit of like hip integration. Come into downward facing dog. If you have a furry friend with you in the comfort of your home, then I hope they enjoy seeing a little deadly practice. This is Baba Hound. Tuck your toes, lift your hips, and then take about 5 breaths to pedal out your downward facing dog. Pedaling out down dog means that you bend one knee at a time, lifting each of your heels so you open up extra space through the back body and the hips. Take a long inhale. Long exhale. Roll forwards, high plank pose. Roll back, downward facing dog. Inhale, high plank, shift forwards. Exhale, down dog, shift back. Do that one more time. Inhale, high plank. This time lift your right leg. Turn on your leg so it's a really active lift. Squeeze through your glutes, spread out your right toes. Breathe in. Draw your right knee up to your right elbow and pause. Hold this, but continue your breath. In and out. One more inhale. Lizard lunge. Step your right foot to the outside of your right palm and then open up for a twist. Your right hand lifts to the ceiling. Lower your left knee down to the mat. Take a big circle in your right arm, opening up your shoulder. Breathe. Frame your right foot, bring both of your palms down, and then straighten your right leg for a half split, Ardha Hanuman. So I'm gonna stay on my left knee and try to stack my hips right on top of the left knee. Pick up your right foot, the front foot, and then slide it a few inches forward. So we're just working a little more stretch in the hamstrings, prepping for the flying splits. Take 3 breaths. Each exhale, you have a little opportunity to fold a little deeper into your hamstrings and into your core. Keep flexing your right foot, draw your toes back. Press down into your right heel. One more breath in. Full breath out. Standing splits. Reground your right foot. Lift off of your left leg, drive your left heel up to the ceiling. Walk your hands out underneath your shoulders. Inhale. Exhale, lean forwards, press down into your palms. Open up your left hip. I always like to bend my knee and then drive my kneecap up to the ceiling and shine my hips over to the long edge of the mat. If it feels good, you can take a couple hip rolls, moving with your leg. One more breath. Step back to your low lunge. Ground your left toes, then your left knee. Inhale, lift your palms up. Exhale, cactus your arms. Inhale, re-extend. Downward facing dog. Plant your palms, big step back. Roll forwards, high plank. Exhale, low plank and hold. So we want our elbows in by the ribs. You can always lower your knees if you need a little extra support, and then squeeze through your core, tuck your tailbone. One more breath. Stay for the exhale. Upward facing dog, lift. Downward facing dog, press back. Inhale your left leg high. Exhale, cheetah pose. Hold your cheetah. Tap your knee over to your left elbow. Press a lot of weight forwards so you feel a big squeeze through your left obliques and a big squeeze down through your core. One more breath. Lizard lunge, step the left foot forwards, then twist open, reach your left palm high. We have 5 breaths right here. You can hold it in stillness or take a big sweeping circle with the left arm. Frame your left foot, half splits. Press your hips towards the back of your mat, but your hips stay floating on top of your right knee. Lift your left foot and then scoot it forwards. Half splits is all about the expansion of your hamstrings, and in order to stretch and expand your hamstrings muscle group, you want to activate your quadriceps on the front of your thigh. Pull your kneecap up and then pull your toes back. Press down into your left heel. Take one more breath in. Full breath out. Standing splits. Press down into your left foot. Then inhale, lift your right leg. Bring weight into your palms and then spread out through your fingers. Remember, we're getting ready for quite a few arm balances. We really want to deepen the conversation of palm to earth, rooting and sending our energy down so that we can lift up. Take one more breath. Step back to your low lunge. Drop your right knee. Inhale, lift your arms. Exhale, cactus your arms. Inhale, extend. Release, downward facing dog, big step back. Roll forwards, high plank pose. Exhale, low plank and pause. Remember, you can use your knees, especially if you start to lose the integrity of your core and your breath. Take one more inhale. Full exhale. Upward facing dog, press through. Downward facing dog, rock back. Walk your feet all the way up to your hands. Land in a malasana, yogi squat, so our feet will come as wide as the mat. And then start to sit your hips down between the heels. I always like my hands at heart, so then you can use your elbows to gently press more space into the hips. And then keep a little bit of buoyancy, kind of rocking side to side. We're gonna set up our crow pose first. Parallel your feet as best you can, so you're turning your toes forwards, maybe walking your heels right underneath your hips. And then extend both of your palms out to the front of your mat. Lower your triceps down to your knees. So I've created a little more roundness in my back body, but a lot more activation through the core. Now imagine you're on your palms. If you were on your palms with your arms straight, you would be in crane pose, and it would put a really big angle on the wrists. So go ahead and bend your elbows a little bit and then flex through your hands. Push down, like you want to tap your elbows to your shins so it lifts your heart a little bit higher than your knees. Take 5 breaths right here. Lift your pelvic floor to the navel. And then pull your navel down to your pelvic floor. So you're connecting those 2 energy points. It's really subtle. You don't see that connection, but you feel it, the internal core. Take one more breath. Big exhale. Ground your palms, lift up to your tiptoes. So notice that I've put my hands about a foot in front of my toes. So I want to have enough space that I can lean forwards and hold. Keep your toes down on the mat, and then try to create that same activation in the core. Pelvic floor pulling up to the navel, and the navel pulling in and spreading down towards the pelvis. Take another deep breath in. Full breath out. Keep holding on your palms. Pick up your right heel. Imagine you're squeezing a piece of fruit behind your knee. So now I've got a little more weight on my right knee, but a lot more activation through my right side. Release your right toes down, and then bend your left knee. Lift your heel all the way up to your glutes. Breathe. Long inhale. Long exhale. One more breath. Then release. Both feet down. Turn your fingers down and then bring the back of your hands in towards your ribs. You can stay here in your malasana or let your knees come down. Take 3 breaths. Just resetting energy. If that was your edge, if that was where you felt the most challenged and the most growth possible, then I want you to repeat that same process, setting up crow from malasana and then holding in that shape. You can keep both feet down, or again, you can pick up right heel and then left heel one at a time. If that felt pretty good to you, we're gonna move on into our full crow pose for 10 breaths. All right, so we'll set it up the same way. I'm gonna give myself a little more space from my hound. Triceps down onto the knees, tuck your tailbone, hollow out some space in the core, and now ground your palms, lean forwards, and start to lift. So if you come up to your tiptoes, go ahead and bend your knees like you're gonna tap your heels all the way to your glutes. Breathe for 10. Keep spreading out through the fingers and then push through your finger pads. They are your little breaks. 6, 5, 4, 3, chest forwards, gaze forwards, look out instead of looking at your feet for 2, and 1. Release your feet down. Once again, fingers down, bring the back of your hands to your ribs or your armpits, and then you choose stay in malasana or lower your knees down. Release. All right, we're gonna set up our flying splits next. So we did our cheetah pose and then knee onto one arm. You can revisit that same process if that's where your edge is. If that's your stop, no worries. Repeat and do it again. You'll get stronger when you try not to push past your edge. So you have to recognize where you are today, and then you have to accept what strength and what space your body is working with today. Never push past, but definitely challenge yourself. So maybe doing it 3 or 4 times, doing it 3 or 4 times until you reach absolute exhaustion, that's better than going all the way, way beyond your capability and then not really getting any growth out of it. All right, little hound is sleepy. Come into your high plank pose. Lift your right leg, and then draw your right knee all the way up to your right elbow. Right here, I'm gonna look forwards. Start to bend your elbows. Let your left elbow come in by your left side, and then look over to your right side. So this is our holding spot. You can hold here, or gently rock forwards and activate your left leg to lift it up. Once it's up, squeeze through your glute. You could even bend your knee to lift it a little higher. And breathe for 3, 2, 1. Release. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. Take a deep breath in, then sigh out. Roll forwards, high plank. Lift your left leg as high as you can. Squeeze your glutes. Draw knee to your elbow. Look forwards. Bend your elbows like you're in a low plank. Support your right side. And then little hop off of your right leg to lift. And hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Low plank. Inhale, upward facing. Exhale, downward facing dog. Come down to your knees. Give your wrists a little shake. If it felt good to stretch the back side, again, you can bring the back of your hands just under the armpits. We have one more to set up. Remember, you can always pause the video, restart, heading back to crow and back to your setup for flying splits. If you want to weave them all together, that's coming next. We're going to do 8 angles seated on our hips first, just to check in with how much space is available in the hamstrings before we start putting all 3 arm balances together. So go ahead and come on to your hips. Start with a seated forward fold. Inhale, sit tall. Exhale, forward fold. Pulse with your breath. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, forward fold. 3 more. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And exhale. Roll all the way up. Hug your right knee into your chest, and then wrap your right arm underneath your thigh. So I'm going to push my triceps, the back of my arm, into my hamstrings, the back of my thigh. And then I try to put my calf muscle on my shoulder like a backpack strap. You can either keep your left leg out long or fold your left leg in by the hip. Grab for the outside of your foot with your opposite hand, and then feel out your hamstrings. So just slowly working to straighten the leg. It's okay if your leg stays bent. If this is your working edge, that's all right. If you have a little more space, slowly start to open, twist, and look towards your left side. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Slowly bend your right knee. Revisit that compass pose, stretching through your hamstrings, or we'll try out our seated 8 angle pose. Release your left leg out long. Sorry, hound. And then cross your ankles. So my right foot is gonna hook underneath my left foot. Ground your palms, and I'll straighten your toes all the way up to the ceiling. Big squeeze. Inhale. Hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bend your knees, but keep the cross. Now we're gonna rock up onto our palms. Sit right next to me, deadly stay. All right, so rock forwards, bend your knees, get a little more weight onto the palms, and now squeeze through your pelvic floor to lift your hips. You can hold here, or once again, extend your legs like we did on our hips, this time bending your elbows, and then look out, hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lift, and release. Other side. Hug your left knee in. Put your leg on your shoulder like a backpack strap, so your left arm wraps under. Reach out through the left hand, and then slowly feel out your left hamstrings. Don't force, don't push. Simply twist and turn, lean onto your left hip for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Slowly back out. Bring your right foot up, cross. So you're gonna hook your left toes onto your right toes, press down through your palms, straighten your legs up to the ceiling and squeeze for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bend your knees, lean forwards, lift your hips. Big inhale. You can either hold here or start to straighten your legs and bend your arms. 5, 4, breathe. 3, 2, and 1. Release. All right. Let's put them all together. We're doing crow into 8 angle, into flying splits, and then release in chaturanga. Feel free to revisit any of those arm balances if that's where your work is. Dudley, are you ready to put it all together? All right, Baba Hound. Scoot over. Sit and stay. Come into your crow pose towards the top of your mat. I need to... All right, set up your crow pose at the front of your mat. Make sure you have enough space because we will be kind of taking different angles, different center of gravity. All right, triceps onto the knees, ground down through your palms. Inhale, lift, hold 3 breaths. Find your balance, spread your balance out through the heel of your hands and then all of your finger pads. Here's a big challenge. We're gonna pick up our left knee and then slide your foot over towards your right wrist. Here's where the catch happens. Cross your ankles, straighten your legs for 8 angle pose. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly release, unthread your left leg, and then come into your flying splits. Hold. When you're ready, chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing. Exhale, downward facing. Return to your knees. Shake out your pose. So if you notice, I switched the cross of my feet halfway through on that angle pose. If you come into the cross and you don't feel supported with your feet, if you don't feel like you're holding your bottom leg up with the support of your top leg, try the other way. I always forget which foot is better to cross on top until I'm in the pose, so that's okay. If where you land doesn't feel the most comfortable or doesn't feel the most supported, then simply switch it up. Take a deep breath in. Sigh out. We have one more side, left side. I know we're going really quick through this little series, but I want you to repeat each and every one of these postures and then just slowly thread them together. It does not happen in one try, and it does not happen in one practice. Revisit these postures weekly until they land. Come into your crow pose. Most of us have a strong side and a weaker side. Left is certainly my weaker side, but that's okay, we're in this together. Crow pose. Inhale, lift. Hold, 3 breaths. Pull navel in, and then get long in the spine. Stretch your heart forwards. Start to release your right leg, and then we're gonna thread our right foot over towards the left wrist. Quick catch, cross the ankles, and then start to bend your elbows, lean your chest forward, squeeze around your left arm for 3, 2, 1. Unthread your right leg, then rebend your elbows, stretch your legs out for flying splits. 3, 2, 1. Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing. Exhale, downward facing. Child's pose. Slowly roll up. Give your hands a little rinse, little shake. hope some of these postures and these little strength building drills are helping you find a new sense of strength and find a lot of growth on your yoga mats. Thank you for joining me. Namaste.